Hi y'all, welcome to another ConnectQ Foundation Java Jumpstart video. This video is going to be practice problems using variable declaration and initialization. Let's get right into it. Okay, so first things first is this is how we are going to start our code. I don't want you guys to worry about it just yet. We'll learn what all of this means in a later video. But let's talk about the problems that I'm going to give you. First is we're going to divide a certain amount of money amongst a certain amount of people. So let's say that I am really rich and I'm a generous person. So I want to give an equal amount of money to each of my friends so we can all share the rich life. So let's talk about what an equation for that is going to look like. Before we even start writing code, I want you guys to pause and think about, if I gave you a pencil and paper, how would you solve this problem? So in other words, let's write this problem out logically instead of the syntax. Okay, so logically the equation would be something like, here's my total money divided by the number of people equals money per person. So this is going to calculate, here's the money I have, here's the amount of people that I'm distributing amongst, and here is my answer. How much am I giving to each person? But let's not stop there, right? What good is this code to me if I don't know what this value is? I want it to print out this value to the terminal so that I know what it is. So how do we do that? We want it to print, let's say, each person gets blank dollars. Alright, so now let's dive into writing the code for this. First thing I want to do is initialize the three variables that I need. So I need total money, number of people, and money per person, which is what I'm going to be solving for. So let's make these integers. Let's make that like that. Yeah. And finally, my print statement. I want it to print each person gets, and I'm not adding, but I want my print statement to include money per person. So I'm going to put that there. So it's going to print out each person gets $, and then whatever number this is. Okay, so notice that there's an error on this. Why is that? Well, money per person isn't actually initialized to any value. It just exists. So there's nothing that we can print in its place because there's nothing that it represents. So to fix that, let's look back at our equation. What do we want it to equal? We want it to equal total money divided by num people. So let's do that right now. Equals total money divided by num people. So then we get the same problem again, that yes, these variables exist, but they're not assigned to a specific value. So what I could do is, here I've declared my variable, and here I'm assigning it a value of, let's say we have 5 people. But that's kind of inefficient, right? I've used 2 lines of code to say, here's this variable that exists, and here's what it's equal to, when instead I could just be doing this. So I've said, here is this variable, and here's what it's equal to. And I've done both the declaration and the initialization within one line. So let's do the same for total money. Let's say that I'm not rich, I only have $50. I'm sorry I lied to you guys, but I'm still willing to share. So let's say that total money is $50. Now you see that we don't have a problem anymore because all of my variables have been declared and they've also been initialized. So there's an actual value that it's equal to. So now let's see if this code will run properly. Yep, it does. This does run properly because it tells me each person gets $10, and you and I both know that 50 divided by 5 is 10. Let's change the values and see if it still works. So let's say that I got paid recently, now I have $60. Let's run it again to see if it changes. So it does change, now each person gets $12. Okay, so that was the first practice problem. For the second one is also something simple, like super easy, is just going to be math as well. We're going to be converting centimeters to meters. So before we get started with the code, again, I want you guys to think about how you could actually do that, like how you would theoretically solve the equation. I want you guys to pause the video and do it yourselves, and then come back and I will show you guys. Okay, so how would we do that is pretty easy. We all know there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. And again, I want it to print, let's say, I'm converting from centimeters to meters, so I'm going to say blank centimeters equals blank meters. Okay, pretty simple. Let's start writing the code for that. So first I'm going to have my variable centimeters, and then meters is going to be equal to centimeters divided by 100. And then I want to print cm plus cm equals okay. So you'll notice that I have a bunch of plus signs again, and here's some actual text. So how this is going to read as is, this is an actual number. This is just what I've named the variable, but int cm is just that. It's going to be an integer. So let's say that I assigned this as 300. Then this would say 300 space cm space equals space plus whatever it calculates the meter integer to be, plus m, so that's going to be an integer as well, and then adding a space and m. So it's going to read number cm equals number m. So let's put this to the test. As you guys see, I kind of already went ahead and assigned a value just so I could show you guys how this would work. But again, here we have declared the variable and we're going to initialize it in the same line. So we're just going to put it equal to 300. And let's see if this code runs. Yep, so it tells me that 300 centimeters is equal to 3 meters. Again, let's see if we change the value, does it still work? So let's say 550 centimeters and see what that equals to. So it tells me that 550 centimeters is equal to 5 meters. Why is that? Well, both of us know that 550 divided by 100 is actually 5.5, right? So why is my code telling me that it's actually 5? Well, it's because we assigned meters to an integer value. Remember, an integer is a whole number. So it's not going to give me 5.5 because I said, hey, this value cannot have decimal places in it. So later on, you guys will learn different types of variables that are not primitive that can hold decimal values. Integer is just not one of them. So if I wanted to have a decimal, I would change the type of variable. But for now, when we're using integers, just be careful that your end product is going to be an an integer a whole number, otherwise you may get something incorrect or your calculations may be off. So let's change that to 500. Yeah, and 500 centimeters does in fact equal 5 meters. So that is going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you come back to watch the rest of our Java series.